Today on Faith Matters, we have another edition of Someone You Should Know. Chris Tornquist interviews Katie Meyers. I'm Dan Jarms, and you're listening to Faith Matters, a podcast to help update you on matters of Faith Bible Church, as well as equip you in matters of the Christian faith.
Hi, this is Chris Tornquist, and it's a real privilege today to have with me here Katie Meyers. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Hey, good to have you here. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. Well, we're just going to find out about you, and you're somebody that people need to know at Faith, so let's just start with the basics. Tell me about where you're born, raised, family, some of that stuff.
All right. Well, I'm adopted from India, and I have a sister who's also adopted from Latin America. We've been going to FBC forever.
Forever? That's a long time.
Not forever necessarily, but some of you, I always joke because for years, you know, my mom teaches in Sunday school and all these things, and you kind of go, yep, I'm that girl. So
basically almost your entire life. You've been at Faith then.
Yes, since we started.
Okay, good. Very good. So who's mom?
Maggie Meyers, and she's teaching in the kindergarten this year.
Well, so you grew up in Spokane.
Yes.
And what school did you go to?
So I went to the Oaks for a bit, and then I went to Valley Christian, which is where I graduated from.
Very good. What was your favorite topic and subject in school, high school?
English. For sure. Mm-hmm. English and writing.
So did you have, were you thinking about maybe you want to write things later? And
yes, actually, and that will come in a little bit later here.
Absolutely, you bet. And I know the story a little bit, and we'll kind of get to that. As you think about those years in junior high, high school, boy, there are things when I think about mine that stand out, both for the up and the down. What were some ups? What were some things that in high school you said, boy, that was fun. I really enjoyed that.
I really enjoyed my teachers.
Good. Why?
Very, very much so. Every one of them, they were good teachers. Mm-hmm. They really were. They cared about you as a student. Mm-hmm. They cared about you academically, spiritually, and just wanted you to be you, you. It was just, I'm so thankful for my teachers.
Activities? Were involved in anything?
Well, so I'm actually a classically trained singer. And sang with the local children's chorus here in town. We had some opportunities to go to Europe and sing. We sang in Italy. We went to France and England one summer, and we also went to the Czech Republic. My goodness. As well as Austria. So,
wow, what a thrill to be able to do that. So you were here from India. And that's been a journey, I know, all in itself to, even though you came, I think, as a baby, if I remember right. So all you've known is America.
Yes.
But at the same time, knowing that you were born in India, that's interesting, curious about your background and all of that. That's probably been some interesting thinking over the years, hasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. It was kind of interesting because when we adopted my sister, we knew a little bit more about her family and her background, and we know nothing about my birth family, anything like that. Wow. So I said to my mom, of course, we can go find my birth family too. We'll just find somebody in India that looks like me. So,
having been in India myself, I think that would be quite a challenge.
Yes, I think so too. I was 8 though when I said that.
Okay, well that's good. That's a good perspective on that one. A little more personal stuff. Work. What have you done over time as employment, or that you've done for fun?
So not much work. I've had some health challenges. Okay. But recently I've been working for a digital marketing agency, and they're actually based in Chicago, so it's a work from home thing. And I'm actually writing, blog writing for different clients.
Wow. So you take all this back from high school of your favorite topics, and probably those favorite teachers. And now, these years later, guess what you're doing?
I'm writing, and I love it. I love it. Now, the topics that I'm writing about are not necessarily, driverless trucks. There's a lot of research. For me, I know nothing about that.
Well, next time I read an article about someone who's an expert in driverless trucks, I'll say, Katie might have written this one. I'll call you and say, I saw you wrote in. What's your additional opinions on that driverless truck?
Yeah. No, please don't.
Okay. So digital marketing, writing, so things that show up online?
They do. Yeah,
wow.
They do. And actually, just real quick, I was doing some research for another article because oftentimes they're the same topic. You just have to, they have to be different every time. And I'm researching, I'm reading through, and I go, wow, this is great. And I get to the bottom, and it says, written by Katie Meyers.
Wow.
I was a little embarrassed about that, but...
Well, you're so active, you don't even remember what you wrote.
I didn't even remember.
Well, sometimes some of us don't remember what we said. So, and as you get older, you don't remember what you had for dinner yesterday. Uh-huh. So it all flows along. Well, okay, let's get to church stuff.
Yes.
You've been at Faith forever in 3 days, it sounds like. Tell me about, what are you doing? What you involved in?
So I actually got involved with you and Marty in the fundamentals class, and that's kind of when things slowly kind of took off as I was able to get more involved. So that was a great time to learn and get to know people, just be more. That was kind of the start of being involved more. So I also did a little bit with music ministry, just being a singer, thinking, maybe I'll fit there. I don't feel like I do. I don't really like being up in front.
Okay.
That's not just not for me, I guess.
Okay, and that's perfectly fine. You discover that.
So,
but you are involved with something, and I'm very
new.
Personal that I know because my sweetheart Marty is heading it up. Tell us about that.
Yes. So Aspiring Women, and this has become important to me. I'm writing a Bible study.
But this has been quite a journey. Tell me what you've done during that time.
So we started, I guess, in January, like last January, and just getting how do you write a study. Marty was teaching us. We went through the Jen Wilkin book on women of the Word, and just looking at how to write a study well for women. That was the big vision of just having other women writing and other women learning to teach. So it's been an adventure. It's been a very good adventure. I really, really love the other ladies who have written the study with me that we'll be teaching together. And so that's good.
And you ladies are going to teach your studies of the chapters that you wrote.
Correct, yes.
And that's in a Philippian study, if I'm remembering correctly, and that starts in October. That class is full, but it'll be a fun adventure, and then kind of learn how to do a gospel talk, if I'm remembering the Rex curriculum. Been kind of life-changing, hasn't it, to think about that?
It has, yeah. It's been a stretch for me, but it's good. It's good.
Good. As you think about your time at Faith Bible Church, is there something that really stands out that you appreciate the most?
The leadership.
How so? Tell me about that.
Well, some of it, actually, what I love is just even seeing my peers becoming pastors and teachers themselves. So going to Sunday school with them, and now they're pastors or teachers.
Wow, how fun.
So I really, that's good. But also just, all of the leaders, all of the men who teach us well, who lead us well, who shepherd well.
Good. That's really exciting.
We're very blessed.
Well, let's talk in a little more deeper things about your spiritual background, about the past and now and the future. Tell me a bit about your journey to Christ. What spiritual background, how you came to Christ?
So I grew up at Faith. I knew the truth. I knew the Word. I could answer every question, Jesus. And, but it didn't really sink in until I was 14. So I attended youth group, involved in that. And I remember just one day after a sermon, youth group, and I thought, so wait, but how was Jesus the perfect sacrifice? What about that? Why couldn't it have just been anybody?
Okay.
And I actually, now today when I think about it, I'm like, wow, how I should know that, I should know that answer. And yet, for whatever reason, that evening, it wasn't connecting.
Wow.
And so I asked my leader, and we kind of just talked through, what does that mean? You had to have a perfect sacrifice. I couldn't just be anybody. We're all sinners. So just thinking through that, and then I remember just accepting Christ that evening, and it changed. I really was changed the next day, and I just excited to tell people about God's word and read God's word, and it was just different than just going every week. And
so it was very obvious that he did a work in you, because things changed almost immediately. Of now you had a different perspective, it looks like.
I did, definitely.
Wow.
So.
Is that fun? As the Christian life goes on, you and I both know there are sometimes ups and downs and struggles and joys. Are you willing to share maybe what's been one of the bigger struggles as years have gone by?
So it's been a very up and down, but I have had some health challenges through the years, and which has hindered me from getting involved in church, which is why it's been so exciting, because things are going a lot better.
Good.
So I can be involved in church and can figure out where do I fit in church. I think that's been in the last few years, just a really big thing.
Wow. If you had to point to something or two that you are learning, what is the Lord teaching you? What do you point to that he's really teaching you about?
I think perseverance is definitely one. And more recently, just being humble, humility, learning that. And just even in the past few weeks here of just being more mindful of praying and my prayer life, growing in praying for people and, getting to know the Lord differently. The Philippians study, as we've been just looking and working through that, has been just great.
Wonderful. Besides the things that you shared already, which we could see and categorize as victories as well and encouragements, is there anything that especially you look back and say, oh Lord, what you've done, I see what you've done in the past year or two. Wow, I can't believe it. Thank you so much. Is something like that come to mind?
Yeah, kind of a lot of things, actually, even just looking back, just with these health struggles and things, looking back through so many years of those. I recently, I think, told Marty, I said, I've just seen how many prayers God has answered.
Wow.
For years. So and then none of them were answered the way I wanted them. None of them. Surprise. But being able to look back and say, that was for my good.
Wow.
And some stuff and it's like, okay, maybe 20, 30, 40 years from now, I'll go, oh yeah, that was for my good too.
That's part of God's sovereignty that I've learned, and I know you and I have chatted about that, and I've shared in the class, in the fundamentals class. You don't see God's sovereignty while you're going through something. No. It's only, as you've said, years and years, sometimes for me, it's been 10, 20 years down the road where I've been struggling with something that the Lord allowed or didn't allow or happened or didn't happen, and then something comes to light, and I go, oh, you did this because you loved me, Lord. Keeps me trusting, and I'm sure that's probably that's what it's been doing in your life as well. Well, finally, as we wrap this up, tell us how we can pray for you.
So I think for sure just humility as we step into the fall, as we step into teaching the Philippian study together. Just that's definitely a big thing for this year, looking at that and thinking like, oh, this is coming up and I've committed to this. So I think just humility and patience with myself as I teach.
That's great. Hey, and listeners, when you see Katie around, you can let her know that you listen to this, and you can tell her that you're praying for her of the things that she just mentioned. And that would be a real encouragement to her. Well, thanks so much, Katie Meyers, for being with us, somebody that we all need to know here at Faith Bible Church. Appreciate you taking time to be with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was great to hear from Katie She didn't say it in the interview, but she's done a number of projects for me, reading, writing, and research. And she's so helpful. It's so encouraging to hear how God's helping her use her gifts for the good of the church. If you have somebody that you think we should know, email us at info@fbchurch.org. We'd love to have Chris interview them.